Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking all about mental health. This is actually my second time filming this video. The first time around I went to go edit it and I basically just rambled for like 25 minutes about things that would be irrelevant to you guys. I mean, I was talking about my story, but I just went like way too into detail and things that just weren't even important to the whole anxiety part of things. So I have revised what I want to talk about in this video. Hopefully this one turns out better than the last. So yeah, I apologize in the delay of getting this video out, but I went to go edit it and it was just unnecessary. Like, it was unnecessarily long and I didn't talk about the things that I wanted to touch on and touched on things I didn't really need to. And then I was in London and now I'm back. I'm doing this. I'm gonna have it edited and posted as soon as possible. Obviously, if you're watching this, it's already edited and posted, but I'm really excited to make this video for you guys because mental health is something that's really important to me. It's something that's really changed my life in the past couple of years, and I think it's important to open up the conversation about this because not that mental health is frowned upon or mental health issues are frowned upon, but I think it's really important to bring light to things that people do deal with on a daily basis and can affect the way that you live your daily life. So yeah, let's jump right into this video. I hope that you guys enjoy. Before we get started, I just want to talk to you guys a little bit. Hopefully this will help me stay more on track in this video / give you guys an idea of what you're about to watch. I'm going to start by sharing my personal experience with anxiety, kind of how it developed and what it looks like now. Just want to remind you guys that nobody is susceptible to this. Anyone and everyone can and most likely will deal with some sort of mental health issue in their life. Just because I put my life on the internet and it seems happy, great, and grand all the time doesn't mean that is necessarily the case. There are lots of things about my life that I choose not to share on the internet. I do open up about my anxiety quite a bit because I think that I have the voice and the audience to speak to, and I want to let it be known that, like I said, nobody is susceptible to this and everybody struggles with something, whether you know it or not. But there are a lot of things about my life and things that I deal with that I choose not to share with the internet. So yeah, just because my life looks happy online does not mean that is the case all the time. Although I am a very happy person, I just want to say that my life is not perfect all the time and the way that it looks on the internet is different. In all of this, I just hope to remind you guys that you're not alone. Whatever you're dealing with, there's somebody out there to help you. There are people to talk to. So please do not ever hesitate to reach out for help. And yeah, I hope that you guys enjoy this video. So to start, I'm going to be talking a little bit about my experience and how my anxiety developed. I'm a junior in college now, so let's rewind all the way back to my freshman year of college. I am from Northeast Ohio and I went to Miami University of Ohio, which is in Southwest Ohio. And so I was about 4.5, 5 hours from home, which was a big change for me. And I really thought that I was going to like that, being out of the house. My parents were kind of strict in high school. I was really ready to be on my own and do my own thing. When I got to school, it was great. I did meet a few girls in my hall and I absolutely loved my roommate. We were really good friends, but past that, I really didn't meet many new people, and I definitely didn't meet people who were similar to me. Fitness was a part of my life back then, but not like it is now. I would go to the gym probably 4 days a week and I would do the Stairmaster or the treadmill or the elliptical, and then I would do a little bit of like body weight. Or I definitely lifted back then, but not like I do now. Like, it was more like circuit training, whatnot. So yeah, I knew that I had a passion for fitness, but it wasn't anything like it is now. And the friends that I did have, like I said, just didn't really have similar interests to me, so I had a hard time relating to people and finding people I really could be myself around. In high school, I was super extroverted. I had a large group of friends, and so going to college and trying to make new friends was hard for me. I just didn't really remember how. I didn't really know what I was doing, and for that reason I struggled to make friends. And because of that, I just didn't really feel like myself. I wasn't as social as I was in high school, and that was kind of my identity. I was a very social, loud, fun person to be around, and being in college with not a lot of friends, I just didn't really know what to do with myself. I became very introverted. I would go out occasionally, and my only real friends were my roommate, and we had like a shared friend that lived across the street from us. But I mean, it wasn't like I didn't get along or I didn't speak to people. I just didn't find people who were similar enough to me that I wanted to hang around all the time. and spend a lot of my time with. So I was alone a lot. I spent a lot of time doing homework and laying in bed watching Netflix and then going to the gym. That was kind of my routine. And then after my first semester, I was like, I don't really think I want to be here anymore. So I applied to transfer to Ohio State at the beginning of my second semester, and I rushed a sorority at Miami because that was kind of like my last hope. I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this a shot because everybody else does it. I should see what the hype is about, and if I like it, I'll stay, but if I don't, I'm not forcing myself. Like, I'm out of here. At this point, I'd been accepted into Ohio State, which is like only 2 hours from home. I was a lot closer to Tristan. So after rushing a sorority, I joined, and I just never really met anybody there that I liked enough to be close friends with. And I don't mean that in any mean way. Like, all of the girls were very friendly, just like I said, nobody I really related to. So I knew that my best option was to transfer. After my second semester at Miami, I left and started my sophomore year at Ohio State. And I lived with 2 other girls who also transferred, and they were super awesome. I loved them both. We were good friends, but I was still struggling to make friends outside of them and then people that go here that I also went to high school with. Like, I didn't really meet anybody new on my own. But because I was still struggling to make friends and meet people that had similar interests, fitness became a much bigger part of my life, and I actually started my fitness account for this reason, because I didn't really have many friends and I didn't really know what to do with my time. So I was like, what the heck? I've been watching these people on the internet for years, like Nikki Blackketter, Robin Gallant, Heidi Summers, Whitney Simmons, and I was like, well, if they do it, whatever, I might as well do something similar myself. And I never intended for my account to grow a following or anything like that. It was more for me, and it was just something that took up a little bit of time in my day, and it's something that I genuinely enjoyed doing every day. So yeah, I just kind of started my fitness account that way. But through that, I met a lot of people at Ohio State via social media. So people would see my account or I would see theirs. I would message them. We would meet up to work out. And that's how I've made like all of my friends now. So yeah, never be afraid to reach out to somebody on social media. Most people are a lot nicer than you would think. Having this social media platform has honestly really improved my mental health, because it makes me feel that I'm making an impact on someone else's life. I am making a difference in somebody else's life, which brings me joy and happiness. And so yeah, I'm really glad that I started my account, and I'm glad that it has turned into what it has. I'm so blessed and so grateful every single day for every single one of you watching this right now, every single person who supports me via my social media. I just want to support you guys and help you guys as much as I can. So I hope that this video helps, and I hope that my content helps you guys. But anyways, that is kind of what I dealt with as far as my personal anxiety. And then on top of that, I'm not sure how many of you guys know, but I have a boyfriend who goes to a different school. And so my freshman year, it wasn't as bad because we didn't really know each other as well. We started dating like right before we left for college, but the closer we got and the longer we were dating, obviously the more I liked him. And so it was really hard for me to be away from him. My sophomore year, my separation anxiety was through the roof. Like, I would see him on the weekends, and whether I was there or he was here, when we would leave one another, I would pretty much just lose my shit for like 24 hours. I couldn't be around people. I would cry my eyes out. I was so sad. I would play the victim. Why me? Why is this my situation? Blah, blah, blah. When I chose to be in a long distance relationship, now I genuinely enjoy being in one, but back then it was so hard for me to be okay with being away from him, because I was putting a lot of my happiness into him. And I would go to him and say, I wouldn't actually do this, but in the grand scheme of things, I would be going to him kind of saying, make me happy. And if you can't make me happy, well, then my day's ruined. I'm miserable. If you're busy, I'm miserable. If you're being rude to me, I'm miserable. And so it was just a very unhealthy relationship from my standpoint. He never did anything to hurt me. Like, we have a great solid relationship, but the way that I was presenting myself to the relationship was so ungodly unhealthy. So I was just not presenting myself to our relationship as a happy person on my own. And at the beginning of 2018, I started seeing a therapist because I was having a lot of separation anxiety, and that is when I fully chose to dedicate the entire year, every single day, to bettering myself, making myself happy, doing something that makes me happy. And honestly, I found a lot of that happiness through social media, making an impact on other people's lives, putting my physical and mental health first. was the best thing I've ever done for myself, and I want to encourage every single one of you guys to do the same. And it makes me really sad to know that I was in that dark of a place. Just a year ago, I would be having panic attacks on a weekly basis. I was not a happy person, and I was not myself. And I finally feel like myself. I'm happy. I know how to control my emotions. I know how to make myself happy. And yes, my boyfriend also makes me happy, but I present myself to the relationship already happy. I don't go to him and say, I'm miserable, make me happy. And if he's being rude or he's busy or whatever, I can still be happy. I'm not miserable because I can't be with him or I can't talk to him or whatever it may be. That used to be a huge issue for me, and now I'm finally in a place where I can do all of those things for myself, by myself, on my own. And our relationship is much stronger because of it. So yeah, if you are struggling with being in a relationship and feeling like your happiness is in the other person, my biggest piece of advice is to do something outside of your relationship that makes you happy. Find your passion. Find something that you can do on a daily or a weekly or a monthly basis that brings you joy outside of your relationship, and that doesn't degrade what you have with that person at all, but you need to be able to make yourself happy on your own, because God forbid, what if that person isn't there one day, or what if something happens between you two? You have to be able to make yourself happy by yourself and present yourself in a relationship already happy. That is my kind of experience slash what I deal with separation anxiety wise, and I still do deal with it, but it's a lot more mild. I do get upset when I leave him, but no, like, I can function. I will cry, but it's not like a debilitating thing that it used to be, where I just was so upset for 24 plus hours. It just consumed me. My sadness and my anxiety was just a lot last year because of it, and I'm very thankful that I have been seeing a therapist, and I really have worked through most of my issues with that. I really don't think that the separation anxiety or the separation sadness will go away until we're not long distance anymore. But yeah, for now it is much more manageable. I know how to handle it when it does come, and I know how to prepare for it. That can be an entire separate video, so drop a comment below if you guys want me to do a video about like my separation anxiety slash like how I deal with having anxiety in a relationship and how it affects me in our relationship. But yeah, that's just, I could ramble on for literal hours about that. Another thing that I deal with, and I have never been like actually diagnosed by a doctor, I'm gonna self-diagnose myself, but I definitely do think that this is something that I struggle with, and that is SAD, which stands for seasonal affective disorder. And so I live in Ohio. It's pretty gloomy in the winters here, like gray, cold. It's really gross. So, and that really seems to affect my mood and energy levels. Like, even if I'm having a really good day, I just feel like I'm in a slump a lot of the time. So this year I have been using a happy light, which is actually what I'm using to light this video because I don't have a ring light. Honestly, if you have one and you do YouTube videos, this thing works just as well as a ring light. Highly recommend. But what you do is you just turn it on for 10 to 30 minutes a day, and you sit in front of it. It can't be directly at you because it literally would blind you. Mine is off to the side right now, which is usually how I have it. And you just face it towards your face, and I usually color, or I'll do some work on my laptop while I'm looking at it. I feel like my moods and my energy levels have been much higher this winter compared to last, but also my mental health is in a better place this winter than it was last. So I don't know, might be the placebo effect, but either way it's working and I'm not mad about it. So yeah, that is basically what I deal with mental health wise. I've never experienced like extreme depression or anything like that. My freshman year of college, I was very naive to the fact that I was having a lot of these mental health issues. I was blaming it on, I have the birth control thing in my arm right here, and I got that put in right before I went away to college. So I was blaming a lot of it on that, where I really just don't think, nobody gave me the option to think that I was experiencing anxiety. I never went to go see anyone. My parents never were like, hey, you probably are having some sort of anxiety. I just thought I hated my life at Miami and I made the wrong choice, which those things are true, but I never like recognized that as a mental health issue. So looking back on it, I might have been a little bit depressed my freshman year, but can't really say because I never was diagnosed with such. So yeah, that is my experience with mental health issues, my anxiety, and I could go into much more like I said, but in a nutshell, that is what I deal with. Now my anxiety is a lot more mild and a little bit more generalized. Like, I get really overwhelmed with the amount of things that I have to do in a day, or planning for the future. That stuff kind of gives me anxiety, but nothing that I can't manage and nothing that I can't handle on my own anymore. And it's taken me a long time to get to this place. Like I said, it took me pretty much a whole year, and it's still something that I work on a daily basis. I work on improving my mental health. It's not something that you can just kind of wish away and sleep it off. Like, you're gonna wake up the next morning and the anxiety is still gonna be there. It might not be as bad, but it's there. Like, you just have to be very kind to yourself, very, very, very patient with yourself, and put yourself first. There's nothing wrong with that. If that means cutting ties with bad friends, or telling your boyfriend, hey, I'm having a really hard time with what's going on, like, I don't want to not be with you, but I need to focus on myself for a while. And me and Tristan never broke up in this process. He was so unbelievably supportive and still is to this very day, but he kind of backed off a little bit and let me have my space. I mean, we would still see one another and all of that, but he knew what I was going through, and he allowed me to go through that while being supportive, but he let me do it in my own way, which I think is awesome. I could not be more grateful for him. He is so supportive, so understanding, and just very helpful in all of this. So that is where I'm at now. Now we are going to talk a little bit about different things I do to cope / I don't want to say products, because I don't think that you necessarily have to go out and spend money to help your mental health, but there are a few different things that I use on a daily, monthly, weekly, or case-by-case basis that I definitely feel help my mental health. The first thing, it's sitting on my lap right now, and it's super heavy, but it is my weighted blanket. And this thing, I literally just, if I'm laying in bed, if I'm watching TV, if I'm doing homework in my room, if I'm working on my computer, I just put this thing on my lap, or I lay it around my shoulders, and it just gives you the sense of comfort, something weighing down on you. Honestly, I don't really know the exact science behind why this works, but I will tell you right now that this thing works. It is just a very comforting feeling, especially after a long day. Like, it just really helps me relax. And yeah, they're kind of pricey, but definitely worth the investment. The next thing that I use that really seems to help my anxiety is CBD. So honestly, I haven't used this in a while because I misplaced it, but I've since found it for this video, and I will start using it again. But here's what it looks like. I have the Cured Nutrition Mint CBD, and I've had this since the beginning of last semester, and I can't really actually see in here, but I would say there's probably about half the bottle left. All you do is squeeze the top like a regular dropper. It comes out like this, and then you place it under your tongue for like a minute, and then you swallow. I always drink it with water because it's kind of gross. Like, it does taste like you're swallowing oil, but this just really helps calm my nerves and relax when I'm feeling especially overwhelmed or stressed out. I highly recommend this. And my last thing that I use, I'm gonna have to get up and grab it and bring it over here, and I might blind you guys, I'm sorry, but it is my Happy Light. Like I said, it's lighting this video, so I have to go grab it. But this is what it looks like. Ooh. I'm gonna turn it off so you guys can see a little bit better. It's also plugged into the wall, but I'm just gonna move this. It looks like this. It's about the size of my hand, maybe a little bit bigger, and it's got this little thing you can move up and down to prop it up on a desk. But all you do is you turn on this light. I'm not gonna put it right at you because, like I said, it'll blind you, but you just do this. And yeah, this thing is super awesome. Like I said, it might be the placebo effect, but it's working, so I'm gonna keep using it. So another thing that I really like to do when I'm stressed out or overwhelmed is to color. My mom got me like a bunch of different coloring books and a pack of like 100 Crayola colored pencils, and I just 30 minutes, sometimes I do it with my Happy Light on, and I just color. It helps me relax, clear my mind. And yeah, and the final thing that I do on a daily basis to help manage my anxiety, kind of keep it at bay, and just start my day off on the right foot is I meditate. I used to do this without like an app or anything, but recently an Instagram ad got me, and I saw that the app Headspace which is usually pretty expensive to have like a subscription to, was running a sale for students that was $9.99 for the entire year, so I just went ahead and bought it. I'm not sure if that offer is still going on, but definitely check it out because I highly recommend the app. But I meditate for 5 to 10 minutes every morning just to clear my mind, start my day off on the right foot. And yeah, that is something that I've just recently started doing consistently again, and it has definitely helped me a lot. Finally, just something I want to talk about briefly. It's not something that I'm super knowledgeable on, so I don't want to say too much and offend anyone or anything like that, but I do not take medication of any sort for my anxiety. Out of personal preference, I think that while medicine is great and some people really do need it, I don't think that it's the first answer, and I do think that there are many natural ways to go about it before taking medication. And another thing that I'm just not cool with are the side effects of medication, and I'm not judging anybody who takes it because I do understand that there are people out there who really do need it, but I don't think that what I deal with is severe enough to put those things into my body and accept the fact that side effects are likely to happen. I think that the ways that I cope with my anxiety are good for me, but like I said, what works for other people is not what works for me, and what works for me is not what works for other people. So keep that in mind. I did just want to say that because I figured I might get questions, or somebody out there is wondering if I do take medication, and I don't. Never say never, but as of right now, I just don't think that it's a necessary thing for me. Okay, final part of this video, I'm going to be doing a quick Q&A, a couple questions from my Instagram story a couple weeks ago. I put up a little ask me whatever, anything related to mental health, anxiety, yada yada. So I screenshotted a couple of the ones that I liked, and yeah, I'm gonna answer those quickly for you guys. So the first question, and this was actually a DM I got in response to my story, but it said, how do you manage relationship related anxiety? Do you / how do you communicate it with your boyfriend? It's something that I try to work out on my own, but I do inform Tristan of it, and he's very well aware of what's going on. He's been a part of this from day one. Like I said, I really didn't experience anxiety until after we started dating, not because we were dating, but it did occur after we started dating. So he's kind of been part of this in my life since day one, that I started experiencing it. So he's very aware. I do communicate with him, but unless it's an issue that I'm having with his behavior or something that he did, I try not to put it on him, but I do make him aware of the fact that I am feeling anxious, and he does his best to support me and be there for me. It is kind of hard because most of the time we're not together, but he does understand and he's very supportive. It just kind of comes down to knowing what works best for you. For me, it's usually meditation. I'll put on my favorite show. I'll cook my favorite food. I love to clean my room when I'm anxious. I think it just kind of gives me a sense of like clearing up and clearing out any clutter in my life, in my mind. I just try to keep myself busy. So yeah, over time you will learn what works for you and what doesn't. Just know that whatever is currently happening, like what is the present is not your forever. Like that was a really hard thing for me to get over last year. I was just so stuck on the concept that me and Tristan were apart, and it was really hard for me to realize that I really only have 2 years of college left. This is not my forever situation. This is not what the rest of my life is going to look like. I will be able to be with him one day, but right now we're just at different schools. We're not even at different points in our lives. We're just not together, and we've talked about this a lot, and I know that it's something that in the near future we will be together. We do want to have a future and a relationship outside of college and outside of long distance. So yeah, just be open and honest. And okay, next question, and this is a great one because I do this a lot. It said, coping with putting pressure on yourself, feeling like nothing you do is ever good enough. Celebrate your victories. Celebrate the fact that you got a good grade or that you had a good workout. And I'm not saying celebrate by eating 20 donuts, but be nice to yourself. Give yourself a 20-minute study break and watch your favorite TV show, or I don't know, cook yourself a nice dinner. Just reward yourself for things that you do well, and that'll always be there. You'll always feel like, at least I always feel like I'm not doing enough, but I just have to remind myself, look at everything that I've done up until this point. Like everything that I've done in my life has got me to where I am right now, so I've got to be doing something right. I'm still here, I'm still doing it. you have to be kind to yourself. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's something that you need to work on a daily basis. The way that you talk to yourself is so important. Please be kind to yourself. You are amazing, you are enough, and you do enough. I understand putting pressure on yourself is something that we all do, but you have to be able to celebrate your victories and celebrate your accomplishments. Okay, next question. I really like this one. What do you talk about in therapy? Not necessarily the nitty-gritty details. So I think everybody's experience is different, but for me, my therapist really doesn't talk that much. I just don't really give her the opportunity to talk much. She'll ask me a few questions prompting me to talk, but once I start, it's kind of like this video. I could talk forever, and I've found that talking about my mental health issues is what helps me the most in most situations. Just talking about it helps me realize that my overwhelming thoughts are probably a little over dramatic, like I'm worrying about things that are unlikely to happen or just kind of over the top. And it also just helps me, if I am overwhelmed by something that isn't super dramatic, it does help me kind of think it out and see the solution in a different way, or just having somebody else's feedback saying it's going to be okay, I'm here for you, is great. But as far as what we talk about, my therapist will usually ask how I've been since our last session, if there's anything I want to talk about, and then she'll ask me like, how's school going? Do you feel classes are stressing you out? How are your grades? What are your habits right now? Stuff like that, kind of just to keep me in check and also allow me to realize, like, take a step back and say, this is what I'm doing in my life, this is how it's affecting my mental health, good or bad. And yeah, that's my experience with therapy. Next question, what are ways you handle being apart from your boyfriend when you're both being busy? This was something that used to really bother me, especially last year when he was busy and I really wasn't. I would be so upset because I thought that he wasn't taking time out of his day to communicate with me. That came across to me as he didn't care. And so I brought it to his attention. I just said, hey, like, it bothers me that you're not texting me back for 3.5 hours. I understand you're in class or you have whatever, but that bothers me. Like, I want you to pay attention to me, basically. And that was something that took me a long time to realize, that just because he can't be on his phone doesn't mean that he doesn't care about me. It's just kind of hard because a lot of our relationship is via text, it is via FaceTime or whatever for now. So that's just something that I have to remind myself. And now this year with my social media and just like my daily activities, like, I'm so much more busy that it's not something that bothers me as much. I completely understand that he's got other things going on. He plays baseball, so he's got school, work, practice, and I've got school, work, social media stuff. So it just kind of all works out. We both very understanding of one another, but my biggest piece of advice is just communicate. If you're going to be busy one day, or if you have to be somewhere for an extended period of time and you can't be on your phone talking to your significant other or whatever it may be, just let them know. Just say, hey, I'm busy, I've got something going on, I'll talk to you soon, love you, bye. And they should be pretty understanding of it. If not, I think it's just something that you guys need to work through. Just a lot of open communication is key. Next question, do you ever feel like your thoughts are so scattered you can't sort out how you need to prioritize? Yes, I do. I used to deal with this a lot more. Now I'm just a little bit more rational about it. I allow myself to freak out just a little bit, and then I'm just like, all right, this is nothing good is coming out of this. I need to get to work. And so what I do is I just kind of like write down my thoughts. If I'm feeling super anxious and scatterbrained about what I need to do during the day, I just start writing them out, either whether it be how I'm feeling, or if I'm kind of past that point, I'm just like, I need to make a list, I need to get to work. So I just write down everything I need to do, and then I organize it in order of like priority, like what needs to be done first, what really isn't all that important, and I just get to work. Crossing things off a list is very satisfying to me. So I just like write what I need to do in my daily planner and go about it that way. Next question, being away at a school that you don't feel yourself at, how do you overcome it? If you have the option, leave. That was the best decision. If I didn't leave Miami, I would not be sitting here talking to you guys today. I would be completely and total different person, and one that I didn't like. I wouldn't like myself. I know that if I stayed there, I would have become somebody that wasn't me, that just didn't reflect my values and who I wanted to become as a person. And if that isn't an option, try to change your scenery as much as possible. Try to find different friends, kind of put yourself out there, explore different things, and see what you find a passion in. How do you deal with the stress of school and keeping up your YouTube/Instagram? Honestly, this stuff is what keeps me sane because it's something that I get to do every day that like brings me joy and happiness. It really makes me happy to go work out and sweat and be able to recording my workouts. It used to be a lot more time consuming. I'm just a lot better at it now because I've had more practice. That can kind of get a little overwhelming, especially if I'm on a time crunch, but for the most part I make it work. And even if I am super busy and overwhelmed with school, just being able to like type out my little motivational caption for the day, edit my videos down, edit my picture, and then upload it, and then see you guys just being supportive of me and like what I do, it really makes me happy. And yeah, it just kind of keeps me sane in all of my schoolwork. So it's not something I like struggle to balance, I don't think, because it's something that I choose to make time for every day because it makes me happy and it's something that I really like doing. Okay, that was it for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you are still watching, please don't forget to leave this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and comment down below what you guys want to see next. I appreciate you all, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.